Okay, this next video is also about counting, and we're going to talk about permutations. The way that I like to think about this one is we've got 4 books. I have a green book on the shelf. I have a red book on the shelf. I have a yellow book on the shelf. So there's 3 books on my bookshelf. Okay, here's my bookshelf. I've got 3 books on the shelf. And, well, the question is how many different ways could I arrange those 3 books? So, of course, you could start trying to count that out and go, well, I could put the green first, then the red, then yellow. Or I could go green, then yellow, then red. Or I could put the red first, and then yellow and green, or the red, and then the green and the yellow. Or I could put the yellow first. You can see how this could get very complicated very quickly. So let's think about it a little bit more intelligently. I've got 3 spots. And before I put anything on there, right, before I put anything on the spots, I have all my options are available to me. So in this first, we'll call this the number 1 spot, and we'll call this the number 2 spot, and we'll call that the number 3 spot. How many choices do I have to put in that number 1 spot? Well, hopefully you're going, wait, I could put the green one in that first spot, or the red one in that first spot, or the yellow one in that first spot. So I have 3 choices. So I could technically put 3 books in that first spot. Well, if I do that, how many books are left to go into the number 2 spot? Like if you were to put, say, the green book in the first spot, how many choices do you have here for the number 2 spot? There's only 2 left. You could do the red or the yellow. I mean, really, there's only 2 choices left. So you end up with a 2. And if you have already now decided which book you put in the first spot and which book you put in the second spot, how many choices do you have left to go in the third one? Well, you don't really have any choices left, so that's just a 1. Now, the cool thing is that if you go ahead and take this right there and you just multiply those things together, you get 6. And 6 happens to be the number of, this is permutations. So we can get considerably more complex with this. So let's, for instance, say that I have 8 people in a room. How many different ways could I put those 8 people? Okay, so let's make some chairs. If I'm going to make, here's a chair. How many different seating arrangements could I put those 8 people? Really? So you've got 8 chairs in a room for 8 people. How many different ways could those 8 people sit down? So let's kind of just work through it logically, and here we go. So let's talk about this first chair right here. Nobody's sitting at the table, so how many people could choose to sit there? Oh, well, there's 8 people that could possibly choose to sit in that first chair. Well, if one of the people does sit in that first chair, how many people could then sit in this? There's 7 people still standing, so 7 of them could now sit in that second spot. So now I have somebody in the first chair, I have somebody in the second chair, so how many people could actually choose to sit here? Well, there are 6 different possibilities. Get the pattern yet? So I remember there's 8 people in the room, and someone has already sat down in the first spot, and someone sat down in the second, someone sat down in the third. So that means there's 5 people left running around, 5 people running all around the room going, where should I sit? Where should I sit? Well, there's 5 people. One of those 5 is going to, so that means there's 5 options here. Those are my thing. I've got 5 options here. And then you've, of course, got 4 and 3 and 2, and then eventually you get around to the last seat, and there's only one guy running around the room, and he sits in the last chair. So what you end up doing is you take your 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which in shorthand would be what we call 8 factorial, which is, this is a whopping number, 40,320. So you got 8 people. So you see how it gets ridiculous really fast. How many different ways could you sit 8 people in the room? 40,320 different ways. Okay? So here's the one that I want you to go ahead a little bit smaller. We've got 5 people in a car. Everybody can drive. Everybody's old enough to sit in the front seat. The question is where do they sit? So here's your car. Here's the headlights. Here's the door. Hood, windshield. So anyway, trunk. Okay, so anyway, we've got 5 people in the. We've got 5 people climbing into the car. Here's a wheel, and a wheel, and a wheel, and a wheel. So we're looking at the top. So no, in this car we have 5 seats total. We have 2 seats in the front, and then we have 3 seats in the back. Okay. How many different ways can you arrange 5 people in a car? That's it. So good luck. Have fun. Hopefully this one won't work out too difficultly for you.